Hedge, fans of the craft, your host the Madbag here with another StarCraft 2 replay. I am playing on my Protoss account, the Madbag, however I am not commentating this first person, so all of this speaking is coming after playing it, seeing the outcome, and watching the recording. I have a Zerg opponent here, Mr. Bum Bum. He's just got a little Zergy Bum Bum. And I am Protoss, and we're spawning on Antigua Shipyard. And you'll notice some lovely Command and Conquer music here in the background. Love my video game tracks. So my general Zerg strategy, my general anti-Zerg strategy, I can't say it's always consistent. I'm really an inconsistent player. I don't have a lot of things down perfectly yet. But it generally consists of opening up with Blink Stalkers, trying to do a push with them. If I can do damage, that's great. If not, I just want to get away without taking damage. And the Blink Stalkers will allow me to deal with mutas, sometimes allow me to do damage to muta or non-muta builds, and generally just let me stay safe. Whenever I do that Stalker pressure, generally I'll have 5 gates. I will try to stop saying the word generally. I will have +2 and blink. I try to get +2 and blink done at the exact same time. My timing in this game, if I remember correctly, is decent on that. And I will try to take a third with that 5-gate warp-in reinforcement, doing some aggression. Of course, follow that up with the Robo, again to stick to safety, and then there my build has a fork. Sometimes when I'm feeling flighty, I will go either High or Dark Templar and kind of focus on Archon. I actually really like Blink Stalker Archon. It slows down how quickly you can get the Blink Stalkers, but the Archons are just awesome. Okay, and Dark Templar, if you get them, you can harass like mad with them. If the Zerg player's not ready, it's just GG. The High Templar, it's kind of a more effective way to go into Archon, and you can get Zealots and get leg and kind of bolster your force that way. I like being harassy with Zealots with legs too. Sometimes I do it with Zealots just without legs, without the upgrade, because they're almost just as effective. But Zealots are really cheap. There's something that you can peel 3 or 4 of them off and send to a mineral line around the edge of a map, and then just wait and watch them on the mini-map and time aggression at their front with when they eventually show up. You don't have to give the Zealots any more commands. They'll go do their damage and all is hunky-dory. Oh great. Holy crap. Did I do a horrible job blocking his hatchery. So he gets the hatchery down. 2 minutes and 15 seconds is the 15 hatch timing. So 3 minutes and 15 seconds is the 15 hatch after being forced into a 15 pool or after doing about a 14 pool. Generally it'll come down right around 3 minutes. So I didn't really get to delay that. I likely made him put his pool down, but and we can check that out in the replay. I likely made him put his pool down just because I was out there acting like I was going to be able to block it well, but it turns out I suck at blocking, so he got it up anyway. And you guys also saw me cut probes. You might not have noticed it, but I cut probes at 16 to whip this Nexus out and to get a couple other things under my feet here to make sure this cannon was well timed. Because when I first went in his base and saw that the pool wasn't up yet at like a minute 50, that means he's going to try to 15 hatch. When he sees me, he's going to know that he can't. He's going to put the pool down. If he put the pool down at a minute 50, it'd be completing close to 3 minutes, or right around the 3-minute mark. And then he'd be able to start sending lings over. So that one cannon's for that. And it's far enough south that it protects my Nexus. However, it's also far enough south that it could be a risk of him running around. He doesn't have to pass through very much of the cannon's range to get up that ramp and get into my base. That would definitely be not real good. So I'm going to whip out a couple other buildings right here around my ramp to make a choke. It looks weird to have a choke on this side of your base, but really all I want to do is keep Zerglings from running all the way in if he does like a 10-ling speed, you know, run in. Which, if he got his gas and his pool at the same time early, he could be getting speed about right now. Day 9 says it best. By the time he gets his gas, if you can see when he gets his gas, 2 minutes out from that is about perfect timing for his ling speed to finish. Looks like I had a little bit of sixth sense about that probe getting messed with. I didn't know that ling was up there, and I was just moving the probe into the smoke for better positioning, and then all of a sudden a ling of his appears, so it's a good thing I was moving the probe. And before ling speed comes up, probes, SCVs, drones can almost always get away from a ling. Lings will catch up to them and get another hit on them, but it happens so slowly that you can almost always get your worker all the way across the map. It especially helps if you mineral path back to your base, which I'm doing with my scouting worker. It really sucks to lose the map position of this scouting worker, because if I could have a pylon on the opposite side of the map that I'm doing pressure, then I can warp in a way that makes an easier arc. Likely I can have it closer to his base because he's not going to have stuff moving, you know, away from my base perpendicularly. He's going to have stuff moving towards my base, so I can't get a pylon in as close on the side that I'm doing pressure. And it also can let me do sneaky stuff like the Zealot warp-ins I was talking about earlier. However, he pushed me off. I don't get to get that proxy pylon, and for Protoss, that's kind of big. That weakens pushes. A lot of times that'll slow him down too, because now I have to send a probe out with an escort. I've got to send a couple units out with a probe behind him just to establish the proxy, and then I have to stage there at the proxy for a minute before I can do my first warp-in cycle and start moving. Whereas, whenever you decide you want to do pressure, if you already have a proxy pylon up, you can start warping in there before your army even stages at its front. You can start warping in and, like, catch your reinforcements and just move, like, super fluidly. So there, just a second ago, you saw me whip down my other 4 gates. That's going to bring me up to the 5 total that I'll end up doing this pressure on and end up expanding on. And then you also saw me whip out the Twilight Council. Now, my Twilight Council, I probably need to do a little analysis on this. Either it was a little slow, or I chrono boosted too much on my +1. Because ideally, your Twilight Council finishes around the same time as +1, and more than anything, that's to keep the timings clean for when the Stalker aggression happens. From what I've felt so far in playing myself, I feel like if you line up the Twilight Council and it getting blink done with the +2, generally that's about the earliest that you can have a pretty solid Stalker pressure. So if you do other wonky things, like if you do the +1 real fast, getting it out faster doesn't necessarily, like, I don't know, maybe it does open a timing window, but maybe it opens a timing window that I'm not so worried about hitting with this build. Now, as I move out, I'm going to do a couple things to kind of have map control here. I'm going to the Xel'Naga Watchtower, and I'm also taking a Stalker around inside my 3rd, because a lot of times he'll have a Ling over there, and the point of this pressure is so that I can take my 3rd, and I'm going to want to be able to send an unescorted probe over there to put the Nexus down before too long. Now here you see me putting up a proxy pylon like I described earlier, and it's in a real obvious location. He's probably got an Overlord on his high ground that can see it, and it's just, that sucks having to do. And he's got enough of a pack of roaches that I want to be real careful with this, especially before my sentries show up. I put my robotics facility down too, and once it finishes, I should have a observer on the way that will let me deny some of this creep, but honestly that's pretty secondary too. The observer I'm getting anyway, because if he had like burrow roaches, or if he did something crazy and rushed to like tunneling claws, him coming up under my army right now would probably be good game. If he were able to tunneling claw over to where my army is and just pop up surrounding it. There's not a whole lot of coming back from that. Blink just finished. I can see that over on the left, and heard the research complete. My 3rd's going up. Generally, especially on this map, I like to try to protect my 3rd by increasing the production to the count that I need. I'm going to do a little bit of Blink Micro because I have Blink now, and he has an enormous army. I was instantly scared when I saw this. However, instantly being scared, especially when you've done a Blink Stalker opening, it can be bad to just instantly retreat. The thing about seeing a gigantic army, one that's a lot bigger than mine, is that if I retreat instantly and he sees the discrepancy in our army sizes, he might just push and kill me, and I don't have any more time to prepare or anything. If I stay in the battle a little bit, but ultimately don't take big damage, like mainly just lose shields, maybe lose a Stalker or 2, maybe lose a couple Zealots, then not only am I able to do some damage right then, and am I able to probably kind of kite him as we go back to my base, but I'll be able to warp in. Now here I engage him and throw out some preemptive force fields, and the force field at the far north there's a mistake. I was thinking that I could get an sentry over there enough to totally wall that and make him engage me in this unfavorable choke, but he just goes around that little gap in the terrain there and engages me on both sides anyway, and I can't take that. I can't fight that. He's got way too many roaches. Way too big of an army. Now, normally I would not do this detour. I already got one immortal, and I was queuing another one. You saw me cancel it there. There's my one immortal. Normally I would not do this detour, but he's so heavy on roaches, and he's got so many of them that I need an immortal. And honestly, I could probably delay Colossi here and just pump immortals, and would probably be better off for the way this ends up going. But I don't decide to do that. I decided that I'm going the Colossus tech route. Let me dedicate to it. Get it out as quick as possible. Be as strong. Skew as hard as I can into those Colossi. You saw the 2 additional gates at my 3rd there, and you now see him picking off my rocks. This is not good. I get a couple roaches for free, but that's not anything because, oh my god, that Zerg army's huge. Oh, Jesus. And the force fields ended up being preemptive. Probably shouldn't have put them down that fast and out there. I should have done some retreating first. And, oh crap, that's just such a huge pack of roaches. It is obscene how many roaches this guy has. He went up to 3 base fast, and you can see by my proxy pylon in the main up north of his main that he's taken his 4th even. So, I mean, I don't even have the 3rd saturated. I'm in some trouble. That is still a huge pack of roaches. Luckily, I did build 2 cannons early on, so that's going to help a little bit. And I've got 2 cannons over here already, so that's going to help a little bit. However, those cannons are being engaged solo, which means they're not going to be real effective. And more than anything, the chokes of my natural are helping my very low stalker count become incredibly efficient against the rest of those roaches. So I'm whittling the number down, although that's still, so I bet he's probably at least 10 food up on me still, if not more than that. So I'm going to try to do some Clever Blink Micro, and I'm going to watch some of my stuff melt, and I'm going to watch some of his stuff melt. I probably could have chose a better warp-in spot for that Zealot, but yeah, I don't know. Honestly, the point of the Zealot was to soak attention so he doesn't destroy everything else here. I'm going to retake my 3rd immediately, because that is necessary. I lose the game if I don't retake that 3rd right now. And I'm going to try pressure, because as much damage as I just took, I have got to return something. I can't just take that to the hip and keep going. Take it to the chin and not lose a step. That's impossible. Took way too much damage. And just the time it takes for me to reestablish and eventually saturate this 3rd, it's huge. However, I have a chance here still. I have a technology that I have not seen him counter yet. And a lot of Zergs are going to hate hearing me say this, but until I see him counter it, I'm going to just try to abuse the living crap out of it. I've got the Colossi. I need to keep chrono boosting on that. You see me return to it pretty often. This is a bad choice. I don't like what I did here. I was thinking just 2 Zerglings, well, let's warp in. Boom, the second I do, 2 roaches show up. Okay, well then that doesn't matter. Those are lost Zealots. That's 200 minerals down the drain. Probably didn't engage favorably whatsoever. The roaches are probably even kiting over there to make sure they kill the Zealot. Bad choice. I should have just left it. And he took out my other proxy too, the one that was just barely out in front of my 3rd. So as far as aggression goes, I'm going to have that annoying ramp up of trying to establish a proxy again. And 3 Colossi. Oh, thank you, gods of timing, for giving me the clutch on just getting 3 Colossi out before this push happened. And then thank you, gods of positioning, for putting so many of his roaches in a bad place up on that high ground and allowing me to get a nice little concave against it. And all of my Colossi survive. I lost a lot of Stalkers there. I did a little bit of blinking, but not enough. Oh yeah, you guys see the critical, what's Day 9's mantra? Win behind, Dark Shrine. Well, I felt behind, so there's the Dark Shrine. And I'm going to send 3 different Dark Templar to 3 different bases. And then I'm going to try to push with this Colossi count. The Colossi are basically all that allows me to be aggressive right now, and he doesn't have anything to counter it. We're deep enough in the game that going pure roach, he could have added infestors or corruptors. If he adds infestors, it allows him to melt my stalker count so fast that that number of roaches probably would have had me. If he adds corruptors, he probably doesn't need a whole lot to get my Colossi count low enough that his roaches can take my stalkers. Because straight up, stalkers against roaches, that's not a very good winning battle unless your blink micro is amazing with stalkers. And mine's, I mean, I can grab packs of like 5. By no means am I grabbing single stalkers and maintaining that. And boom! He leaves the game! Yep, that just happened. My Dark Templars just got into position and attacked a couple times. I really didn't think I was coming back from that. When he took my 3rd, I thought I was over. I thought it was done. But Just goes to show you a little abuse of tech. And right here, I have a habit of being painfully honest. So I tell him exactly what I was thinking. Don't think he ever ends up responding. So let's peek at a couple different stats real fast. Resources, everything were pretty even. My worker count was below his, but it was really close. Considering he went all the way up to 4 base, I had more workers mining most of the game, I can almost assure you, because he has to use them to build buildings. Nothing surprising on the unit count. This really shocks me. The build order of 14 seconds? What is going on there? What is he doing? That's insanity. The army value, he has a higher army value because he had an obscene number of roaches, so many roaches it was silly. But I had just a little bit of technology. Oh, I did get +3 as well. I think it finished. We're going to check that out here in just 1 second. I think +3 even finished by the end of that, because I was focusing on it so heavily, focusing those chronos. See a little of the income and how that produces an army. So let's go check. I have a feeling that I know what the... I want to say fault. I really don't like critiquing others, but I want to say fault. I have a feeling I know what the primary fault in his gameplay is going to be. Mainly that technology, mainly staying on roaches. He felt like he was really far ahead, so he felt like it was okay for him to stay low tech. And it absolutely wasn't, especially since he saw me getting a very critical, very countery, very abusable tech. Let's speed right along through some of this early stage. I kind of wanted to see the delay there for the drone, but I couldn't really tell if there was one specific thing that made him take 14 seconds for his drones. The first thing I want to see is, what did my probe harass actually cause? You can see a little bit of my commands there. Pool goes out immediately. He sees the probe, the pool goes out. So just seeing the probe, I'm going to be able to deny the hatchery longer than he wants to wait to put it down. So he's going to put the pool down just to make sure that I can't delay him indefinitely. And he gets the hatch down faster than I would have liked. This isn't huge. He's not going gas. Honestly, right as soon as that went down, I should have come in and checked on his gas one more time. Seeing no gas, and actually I came up the ramp. I was thinking about it, I think, but didn't end up doing it. Seeing no gas would have given me a bit of a tell. Would have told me that, yeah, he's likely going to be going. And he's already seen all this, so he knows what's up. He's seen my FFE. Seeing the no gas, though, would have made me certain, and I assume this anyway, it's bad to assume anything, but I assume that Zergs are going to go for a third very quickly, just like that, whenever I FFE. But seeing the gas would have made me absolutely certain of it. I wouldn't even had to come and scout this. And honestly, later on, that's a function of this probe, but he ends up getting interrupted. Normally I set the pylon up, and I'll bring him back out to the map and hit this tower first, and then go right into third to check on it. And normally that's right around the time that I think I ended up hiding him. Yeah, that was kind of crazy the way I just want to see. Let me back up. I don't make a habit of backing up, but I just want to see. Oh, he did see it too. He had the patrol. The way he had this attack command in here queued up, he would have caught my probe pretty much no matter where it was. Very good job on his part. He's got lings at my front to see anything that comes out. Also to periodically just run up and check. Seeing things like this chrono boosting forge, that can mean something. Honestly, I think I chrono boost this a bit too much. I think I get this research out too fast. I think maybe it's a little bit of both. I spend too many chrono boosts here, and I get this twilight just a little bit earlier than I really need it. Or I get it a little later than I really need it. So, chrono boosting workers, holy crap, I'm glad I jumped up there. I jumped up there and he had like 34 workers, and he just almost instantly jumped up to 45. He just built like 10 workers. So I'm behind now. For a second I was ahead, and honestly I expect to be ahead of workers probably right after this pressure rounds out. If we look at the army, he is ahead of me there too for the lings that he's got scouting the map. Roach Warren and an Evo with a fairly early timed lair. We'll see what he plans on doing with that lair. Oh, and this is tricky. He actually got both of the gas at his natural before getting the gas in his main. If I were to poke up here with anything, like say come in here with a zealot to try to harass some workers, or a couple and a stalker to try to kill a queen, if I would have seen both of these gas, I probably would have assumed that those were his third and fourth gas, not his first and second. And that would have made me think, oh, okay, mutas. It's either mutas or it's like, I don't know, roach infester or ling infester. It's not going to be a bulky, safe roach play, you know, a macro focus play. Seeing those gases that early would have made me really think he had a real specific tech-oriented plan. So there's that Twilight. I think my research has been done for a minute. Yep, their +2 goes down immediately. Blink, I don't have the money for it. Don't have the money for it. There goes Blink. And both of those get a chrono boost. And then before long, when you start those, that's generally a decent time to start staging this attack. If you have a proxy pylon, you can be a little bit more lax because some of your staging activities are already done for you. But generally when you start those, you want to get units on the map, take a little presence, try to start figuring out how this pressure is going to go, where it's going to go, when it's going to go. Holy crap, oversaturation. Wow. 70 drones! He already has 70 drones. This pressure should have done so much more than it did. What is he building right now? 5 roaches? Feels like he gets this roach count up so fast. It's because he's got a huge drone count. I so should have poked a little bit earlier. I should have poked with like my first Stalker and Zealot. Actually, I skipped that very first Zealot. This is a Zealot I built later after I had my warp-ins. He just perfectly gets my timing on this. That's insane to see. It's insane to see that he already has 70 drones. I never would have guessed that. That's what makes this timing so sick for him. He's getting a huge economy right now. And his saturation is actually looking really good now. No gas. That's poor. But his saturation on minerals is really sweet. It's like, the way you can tell just by a glance if a saturation is good or not is drones moving horizontally. So see these drones that are not moving directly from a mineral patch to the hatchery and back? All these drones that are moving from one mineral patch to another mineral patch, those are oversaturated drones. Now it's good to have just a couple of those, but you don't want too many. You really don't want a whole lot of those. And he's even building more drones. Well, no, he actually lost some. He's at 68. I guess I could have seen army counts before this. Yeah, he's got easily 1,000 minerals more than me in army. And he thinks it's pretty close, and he sees sentries with some energy left, so he doesn't want to commit. He doesn't want to do anything crazy and lose his army, which is smart, but he totally could have pushed right there and done huge damage. That would have been more effective, I think, than when he pushes here in a little bit when I just start to get Colossi out. Could have been better force fields. Again, oh my god, push me. Yeah, no. See, he needs to push. He needs to be pushing this real hard right now, and he needs to be rallying behind it. I'm probably just starting to pick up probe production. Yeah, when I start paying attention, I'll start picking up probe production. And my saturation is about right on point, but it's not like, you know, bam, and getting the gases. Oof, that's so good. Saturation's so amazing. I think this is probably about the point in time where do this push and tech. He needs to get some kind of technology. He can't stay on roaches. And this push is the perfect time to cover up that tech window. That window of time where you've invested money but don't have anything on the field to show for it yet. And oh my god, that's so many roaches. Jesus, let's go to the loss numbers. Yeah, I've lost more than him right now. Who says Protoss engage against Zerg favorably all the time? I'm for sure not doing that right now. I'm losing my nuggets. Okay, here's where we get it. Okay, now I've got buildings soaking some of his damage. He's getting some roaches that know there's a combat unit near but can't range him, so they set back here in the back and just juggle around. And he split army off over here. Now, honestly, I like that he split army off over here, but he could have done this with less army and could have focused the probes and then maybe even retreated with a lot of the stuff that he still had alive here, been able to pick the Nexus off and gotten out. And it gets close right there. He actually stays in for it. Just a tick too long. Actually, right now, it's way too long. He should be trying to get this out. If he can see any of this over here, and the Colossi hitting especially, he should be trying to get as much of this out as possible for a follow-up push, including what he's macroed, which I don't see a whole lot of macro going on. It's really easy to hit 6 SR in the middle of a battle. It is not so easy to flip to a place where you have pylon power and put the stalkers down. Now again, this is where I try to push because I just feel like I'm under pressure. I feel like I need to, but this is really ill-advised. I'm getting another critical piece of tech, but he's still got smash mode on me. He's still got enough tech to just blow me down. And he's got 1 damage. He's getting 1 armor, so let's see. This is one of the other things I wanted to look at. Let's see what my timing is. I've got 2. Yeah, I definitely have 3. I have 3 by the time he does this push against my 3 Colossi, I think. And I just get those 3 Colossi out too. Okay, I think we can speed along a little through some of this chunk of overlords. Ooh, drones. That's not ideal. His saturation, he's done something. I haven't hit this yet. I didn't really harass at all in this game. He's done something with his saturation. It's probably just making structures. A lot of Zergs will forget that and they'll just go totally away from droning. They'll never get drones again. it's important to go look at your bases and kind of get a glance and check saturation, kind of get a feel for it again. This engagement is hugely favorable. We were pretty well tied with me on the losing end of it up into this engagement, and the whole game up to now. But this is where it starts to turn around. Now he's like 2 grand over me in units lost, whereas I've been about 1,000 over him. And yeah, that +3's on, and sorry bud, 1-1 does not compare. And army counts say now we're even. Actually, I'm ahead and I have critical tech. So let's jump back one more time. Again, I don't like backing up, but I'm going to do it from time to time. Right here, do I have +3 yet? No. See, if he would have known, ooh, and I'm too close to it really. If he would have known, he should have done this repush a lot earlier. Protoss is probably the race that it's the most difficult to get momentum with. Momentum kind of pops with Terran because you have reinforcements that will all come off at the same time, and whenever you're doing a push, a lot of times you won't have those reinforcements rallied to the front. So Terrans will, if they lose a push, they kind of have an army sitting here already. Either that or they have an army rallying and an army about to pop out of their production facilities. Since Protoss warp in on the map, since they spin their production cycles and get it instantly, that means when they lose what they've gotten instantly, it takes them a minute to instantly get more going. It takes them a long time to get an army back up, whereas, of course, Zerg, Jesus, they're the fastest. They can just have, like, larvae sitting around. Matter of fact, look at how many eggs are cooking. They can build, like, 20 units at once, you know, on 3 hatcheries, 4 hatcheries, I guess. But Protoss has the slowest building momentum, I should say. Protoss has the slowest building momentum. Especially when you add in, like, some of the Terran concepts, like the way the Robo facility has to produce and then rally. Alright, well, there it is. Another victory, and another game that at one point, I really don't feel like I should have won that, but I stuck with it. I didn't idra out. I stayed in there and did what I could. So, thanks for watching, guys, and actually, while I'm thinking about it, I think I'm going to try to cast some losses. I have the problem that just about every YouTube caster I watch has with his own games, in that the losses that I have are just really silly. It's just stupid. I just lose for dumb reasons, really. So, ooh, 12 kills, that's nice. So they're bad games, like they're not, it's nothing to show off, you know, it's nothing that I'd be like, hey, check this out. This was a cool game where I just did stupid stuff and lost. But I'll try to get one where maybe I make a pretty critical mistake and I don't know, show it for the value of the mistake. Oh, check that out. He actually did end up getting tech. I'm guessing he wanted to go to a hive real fast because he got the infestation pit. But getting that spire out a little bit earlier would have been paramount. I never even saw when he did that. It would have been just having probably 6-ish corruptors. If he could pick off 1 colossi before the fight started, when I have only 3, or before this fight started, even better. If he could swoop in here and pick off 1 colossi, then that fight would have been a lot different. If he could have picked off another one during the fight kind of quickly, it would have definitely been smashed for me. Alright, that's it. I'm going to stop blabbering. Thanks. Later.